If you want to look rich, fish your brand X. You want to look smart, fish your TFO. It should be an extension that you don't think about. I'm looking at the target and the rod puts the fly there. It's more of a intuitive thing than it is a mechanical force thing. And that's when it really gets fun. If you got the right tool, you don't even have to think about it. It's just there and it works. Born in 1954, my folks farmed along with grandfather and great-grandfather on the same farm, Highway 95 between Taylor and Granger. We raised cotton, maize, and then ultimately corn. Hunting and fishing was either that or working in the fields, driving tractors. One year I got a .22 rifle for Christmas. I was 6 and took my .22 every day outside, nobody within a mile and a half of us, so I could shoot anywhere. So that was kind of the grow up years until I left home and started at the University of Texas in Austin. Ended up transferring to Trinity in San Antonio because they had a skeet and trap program in their PE curriculum. I think Trinity prioritized 410 skeet averages over grades anyway, so we got along great. You meet a fly fisher, you pretty much got a friend for life. I had fished with Ken Wellams in Alberta, Calgary over the years, beginning in the early 80s. First real fly fishing, other than Shakespeare Wonder Rod on the creeks and ponds around home. Ken did everything that I wanted to do. I mean, he had waders and flies, and he was the sage rep in Western Canada. I bought his U.S. business, which was Springbrook. Waders and flies and all kinds of accessories. Our first rods and TFO and the name came from a couple of guys I knew in Utah that started Temple Fork Outfitters, and it was the Temple Fork of the Logan River in the Wasatch Mountains in northeastern Utah. Introduced rods, 2-piece, 9-foot, 5, 6, and 8 weights in September that year at the IFTD show. And they were $75 and $80, $80 for the one with the fighting butt 8 weight. It was a way to get people to buy a fly rod without a lot of pain, and figured out how to do a warranty that basically had a deductible, so we would stay whole. We could then afford to turn warranty work around within a week. I mean, within a day in the warehouse. Early on, I think it was 99, China was really ramping up their rod production and exporting. And Korea was losing a lot of the business to the Chinese. And BJ sends me this email that, look, if you'll be our exclusive rod manufacturer, we'll try and build a brand. It wasn't strategic. It was renewing your 5-year plan every 6 months, Then about 2001, it was a major financial crash, and suddenly, we were kind of a Cinderella at the party, and it wasn't midnight. People were starting to pay attention, all word of mouth. Guides were starting to pay attention because they break rods all the time. Customers break rods all the time. So how quick can you get them back? Our turnaround time and performance was never what we made big claims about. Left that to people that were trying to sell rods closer to $1,000 and decided to get into the conventional rods. It took us about 5 years to get good traction with fly rods. You got to get people fishing them, and liking them, talking about them. Fly fish suddenly could buy more rods, backup rods, and they weren't expensive. And friends that had friends that wanted to get involved. Well, here's a great place to start. Your equipment's there to make you happy, not make you concerned about breaking it or knowing how much of the rod to use, what part of the rod to use, how to maximize pressure relative to your break strength, as well as the action of the rod. That all comes into play. Ultimately, when you make the assumption that consumers are going to look for value, right? Price doesn't necessarily mean performance. Performance doesn't necessarily mean price. And, finding that sweet spot and the word of mouth part of having friends tell friends, well, I bought this rod for $200 and I can do anything I need to do with it. A lot of people over time would end up replacing their high dollar rod with their backup because it performed more to their liking. We became a little more of a household name, very much so in fly fishing, but people started to become aware and still are in the conventional world. Having the ability and willingness to tweak anything we ever made and not say that, well, this is it and we're done with it and wait till the next series. We could do anything that we wanted to do, and performance-wise, besides basic materials, it's all about engineering and tweaking and consistency. We don't step off the gas at all in the fly rod world. Committed to make somebody real happy that they own the TFO and do whatever it took to take care of them. If there's a way to make them lighter and or stronger, we'll do that. So that's the future. But there's no way to measure performance. You can't shoot under par or break 100 straight. It's all in your mind. Your performance is how the experience went for you.